for some peace of mind, but TikTok said a gator drove a Jeep through the blinds. Florida man's at it again with fireworks and a goat, and someone married a ghost in a Dollar Tree coat. Hey, what in the Walmart rapture is going on? Aliens dancing in a Waffle House song. Karen's got a taser in the checkout line, and Dr. Oz just adopted birds to fight off crime. Oh, I'm just sitting here scrolling, my jaw on the floor. The internet's a circus and I can't take no more. Yeah, when it's wildin', there's a raccoon in the sink. Someone robbed a Wendy's just to steal a frosty drink. A pastor's gone viral yelling about the end is near, while folks ride hoverboards in wedding gear. Yeah, what in the Walmart rapture is this mess? Florida's a movie, but it's filmed in VHS. Someone fed meth to a squirrel named Dave, and now he's in a cage just throwing rave. I'm just...
Good morning, everyone. It is Tuesday. If you're snowed in, you're here with me. All of my kiddos have had their schools either delayed, but it is still yucky outside. So we made the executive parent decision to, keep them home because even Mr. Mo wasn't too keen on trying to tackle the hills in our neighborhood. With the snow, slush, rain, whatever it is that is falling in your neck of the woods. I hope you're warm and safe and snuggled inside because it is yucky out there. So good morning, everyone. In a bit of good news, or at least a silver lining in a terribly heartbreaking case, it does look like in the latest news release or press release that the wounded National Guardman is showing progress after this weekend's or last week's shooting. After the heartbreak of losing the other soldier who lost her life, I mean, it is good to know that there is some progress being made for the other National Guardsmen. Now, the medical condition is improving for U.S. Air Force Staff Sergeant Andrew Wolf, one of the two National Guard members from West Virginia who was shot just a few blocks from the White House last week, the governor and his mother have announced. Now, a memorial is growing outside the Farragut West Metro Station where the shooting occurred at 2:15 p.m. on Wednesday. Loki, you cannot eat my wig. Yes, this is the cat on my lap who is currently just using me for the heat my chair gives off is the one that likes to eat my wigs. So he is over here for a dual purpose of trying to eat the wig currently on my head. Now, Army Specialist Sarah Beckstrom, who was only 20, passed away one day after the attack outside the Farragut West Metro Station while conducting high-visibility patrols. President Donald Trump did announce her passing on Thanksgiving night. It was a real kick in the gut to a lot of us who have family members that serve and realize it could just have easily been our family members, but in a greater sense, the military family. And look, I know it sounds hokey, but, when you're in, the National Guard, like my husband was for many, many years, you find people, kind, great, salt of the earth people that will help you no matter what. And that's what I've experienced. Yeah, there's drama. Yeah, you're going to have the drama llama stuff. And I generally stay out of that. But when I've needed help, when we've needed help, they've been there for us. And I hope that these other military families who are grieving and worried about their loved ones are getting that support that I have found in the military family and, the spouses and supporters of military families. Now, Wolf, 24, underwent surgery after the attack. West Virginia Governor Patrick Morrisey has invited him, or did visit him, at an undisclosed hospital in the nation's capital. So it does look like they are still worried about possible targeting or security issues. I want to say I'm not the doctor. I'm not going to try to pretend to be so. What I will say is that Andrew remains in serious condition, Morrissey said on a news conference on Monday. Though he is fighting for his life, the governor said, Wolf was able to respond when the nurse asked him to give a thumbs up if he could hear her. We're told that he could also wiggle his toes, which we take as a positive sign. So basically, the governor fully said, like, not a doctorologist, but there are some good signs. And I do hope that that continues. And this, gentleman who was targeted simply because of the uniform he was wearing will continue to heal. Again, look, I'm not a grand political thinker, so I don't know how to stop this or fix this, but I am glad that there is a silver lining, and it does look like this particular soldier is going to get better, or at least is on a positive trajectory. Now, I did wait to cover this story. I'm sure you guys have all heard about the shooting that happened this weekend, but not a lot of actual information was coming out. So it does appear to have involved a rapper. I know, not a subject that I am well familiar with, but I did want to wait till I brought you guys this story until, I actually had a little more information, because I know you're going to be shocked, but rap and kind of who's got beef with who is not my jam. Now, a rapper targeted in a deadly birthday party mass shooting that took the lives of 3 children is hiding out and in fear of his life after he and his wife were both wounded, his father says. Rapper MB Nell was among 15 shot at a birthday party for one of his friend's 2-year-old daughters inside Monkey Space, a banquet hall in Stockton, on Saturday evening, his father, Junior Dogon, told the Post. Now, as you guys know, I have no idea what happens in the rap community or what have you. Now, MB Nell, real name Jonelle Dongon, had previously fled Stockton and was living outside of Sacramento. Now, he had returned to the city of 300,000 people to meet with his fellow rapper pals at the birthday party, is what his father was saying. Now, again, I don't care who you have beef with or what the hell is going on or who disrespected who, but why? Why in the name of flippin' flapjacks, and this is where my faith is tested, is it that is always innocent young children that get caught up in this, you disrespected me, this beef culture? I swear to God, if I was president, you know what I'd do? We're going to bring out the whiteboard of truth. Because I think I would get all the votes. Again, 2028, we voted worse. But here, this is going to be a radical idea, but stick with me. Okay, so say this is your town. You got, your little houses, little prairie houses. This is your town. No, for the love of Cheetos. Town. Gonna have to work on, Baker's got the angles right. Town, okay? Then we have for the love of Cheetos, I forgot I get thin to write things down. A dueling field. Now, stick with me. I say, you know what? Rappers, West Side, East Side, Crips, Bloods, whoever, Unitarians versus Mormons, I don't care who you are. Go duel out at the dueling field. Keep it away from the rest of us. I don't care. Go have a beef over a freaking chicken nugget. I do not care. But keep it away from the rest of us. If we can't curb this behavior, this back and forth stupidity, then at least let's, get it away from everyone else who is innocent. I am so, it is soul sucking to have to again bring you guys news after news of innocent people getting hurt because of the dumbest things. And I don't want anyone to get hurt, even the dumb, beefers. But at this point, I'm willing to concede that they're going to fight no matter what. So why don't we just make these dueling fields? You do whatever out there. It's legal. I don't give 2 craps, but you keep it out of my town, okay? Now, I'm pretty sure that probably breaks like all the Geneva Conventions and habeas corpus and probably, 90 other laws of humanity. But at this point, I'm just tired and I can't stop you from doing it. So you just do it away from us. At least that would be my opinion. Now, the father said that he was simply there to, go to his friend's birthday party, hang out with these other rappers. He was shot. He's okay. He called me to said, don't say anything to anyone. Now, the Stockton-based rapper had moved out of the area 2 years ago because he feared for his safety, including an incident where other thugs shot 22 bullets at his parents' house a few years ago. My daughter-in-law was hit in the butt. Don Gunn continued. We're worried. I'm worried about my wife, and I can't do anything about it. Now, 3 children and 1 young adult lost their lives in the shooting, which Stockton Mayor Christina Fugazi said was related to gang violence. So we might be hearing more about this as things come up, but I did want to wait to report on this story until we had maybe more of a concept of what was going on. That being said, it does seem like there are going to be at least, some sort of honor kind of thing or beef or conflict between 1 or 2 of these rappers. I can only hope, for the sake of the children and the young adult who lost their lives in this terrible tragedy, that the police are doing a good job so that when and if they ever bring this to trial, justice can happen. In a sad but definitely a recognition story, I generally don't read articles ahead, but something about this story just struck me. I remember being, a young 17-year-old, doing shadow teaching at a middle school and finding out what happened on 9/11. And I remember sitting there looking at all the brave people who were, first responders running in and having to look at myself really, really carefully and think, gosh, would I do that? Would I run to save someone else? And it was a really, really, eye-opening thing for me to look at myself and say, would I be brave enough to do that? And I can unequivocally tell you, I judged myself not brave enough to do that. So I have immense respect. And I did want to highlight that there was a big loss in the 9/11 ground zero. Sort of community. And as much as I don't like Jon Stewart for a lot of his different, let's say hot take positions, I give all the respect for Jon Stewart for standing up for all the men and women and first responders who were at the cleanup at 9/11 ground zero and are suffering from terrible and, life-altering medical conditions. So I may not like Jon Stewart's every thought, but I respect that man for standing up and, taking care of these men who pay, men and women who are paying with their body, with their health, for cleaning up and being there in one of our darkest hours. A Ground Zero FDNY hero who passed away from 9/11 illnesses was memorialized as an inspiration to his colleagues at his emotional funeral in Brooklyn on Monday. Former Deputy Chief James Jim Riches Sr., who passed away on Thanksgiving at 74, set an example for his colleagues as he sifted through the wreckage to find his firefighter son's remains after the terror attacks on the World Trade Center in 2001. Grieving colleagues said at St. Patrick's Roman Catholic Church at Bay Ridge. Now, hundreds of mourners saluted Rich's casket at the church, a scene reminiscent when the Riches buried their son, Jimmy Jr., about 24 years ago. Now, Richards was a 30-year FDNY veteran and ultimately spent months at Ground Zero as he and others never wavered on recovery efforts, grieving colleagues said. I can remember vividly the same kind of service and how we're here 24 years later for Jimmy Sr. A lot of this is attributed to him being there every day looking for his son with a bunch of other firefighters that were looking for their sons, said former FDNY Commissioner Sal Cisano. I can remember the inspiration that those people gave us, knowing that they were looking for their sons. Some of them were retired. We could look harder than we'd ever worked before. Now, Cassano, who was the commissioner between 2010 and 2014, said Riches was steadfast in finding his eldest child's remains, which he did eventually on March 5th, 2002. He kept us going. He knew he was on a mission, and we were on the same mission to bring everyone home, said Cesano, who knew Richards for about 50 years. And unfortunately, Jimmy paid a dear price for it. Another 3 of Richie's sons had served in the fire department, including 2 who were retired and 1 who is now still active. Richards, a Brooklyn resident, served the FDNY between 1977 and 2007 and was an advocate for Big Apple first responders dealing with post-9/11 issues well into his retirement years. September 11th didn't stop on September 11th. We're doing this almost every day, Cesano said. Jimmy was one of our advocates. He went to Washington many times for us. He fought for benefits for families of people who were killed and are still living. The former fire commissioner noted that a number of active and former FDNY members who lined the streets for Richards as if he was just working another day, including some members who didn't know him personally, but knew what he stood for. At one point, the department handed his wife Rita his fire helmet in a solemn moment. Jimmy Riches was the big daddy, larger than life, a great guy, great athlete, and great fireman. Everyone was with Jimmy, said a retired firefighter, Michael Manza, 70, who worked with Riches in the late 80s and early 90s. He was dedicated to finding his son, and it was horrible. A large part of him died that day. He had second strength and a third strength. Whatever it was, he got up and said, "Okay, we're going on now." Jimmy was a great firefighter and friend, Joe said. This is a family, and the family's taken a major hit. Just seems like an incredible man. I couldn't. Y'all, I couldn't. Finding my child and then giving strength to other firefighters who are also looking for his children. And I think it's easy to forget that, you know, a lot of firefighters, this is in the family, service members. And I guess it doesn't hit you until you read these stories that they were looking for family and what it takes to, the kind of strength of spirit and heart it takes to be able to do that is just otherworldly, in my opinion. And I did want to honor and give him, you know, all the respect. Well, things are looking a little sus, or at least a little neglectful, and a whole lot, you know, neglectful to a criminal level in the Hong Kong fire that took the lives of 13 people. Anti-corruption authorities in Hong Kong have arrested 5 more people Monday in connection with the catastrophic apartment complex blaze last week. Now that brings the total of people facing possible manslaughter charges to 13 as the death toll hit 151, with about 40 residents still unaccounted for. Now, officials said that the Independent Commission Against Corruption had launched a wide-reaching investigation with a view at laying manslaughter charges against suspects, including the directors of the main construction contractor and engineering consultant of a construction company. Now, it is interesting that they haven't named the companies, but that might be due to Chinese or, well, Hong Kong. Look, I'm not a lawologist. I'm not an Asian lawologist, so I don't know. They might have different rules where you can't name corporations or things like that. But it does seem a little bit interesting that we're not given the names of the companies that did, you know, utter shenanigans. Now, those arrested include 12 men and 1 woman, all between the ages of 44 and 77, with principals of subcontractors responsible for the scaffolding and exterior of the building among them. Now, the 31-story buildings at Wang Fuk Court and are in New Territories, home to about 4,600 people, were undergoing major renovation work, so they did require the scaffolding to be outside the building. Now, suspicion has fallen on the bamboo scaffolding, with nylon mesh being maybe the source or possibility of the fire. I'm gonna be real honest with you guys. There's a lot of news. I can't keep up with all of it, so I have not the foggiest clue as to whether or how this fire started. Now, public ire has been mounting over previous safety breaches that were alleged to have been committed by a contractor for the project and slack enforcement of regulations by authorities after it was revealed that residents had lodged many complaints over the last 12 months. Hong Kong Chief Security Secretary Eric Chan said that of test 20 samples of the mesh netting, 7 didn't meet fire retardant standards. He said at first that the netting appeared to be code compliant, but when they repeatedly took samples from different spots, the netting failed all those safety tests. Chan said that substandard and cheaper netting had been substituted and purposely uses in places where it wouldn't be detected by, inspectors. They mixed together nets that met fire safety standards with ones that didn't, and put the nets that didn't meet the safety standards in places that only firefighters could reach. They wanted to make money at the expense of people's lives. Now, authorities have also said that fire alarms in the buildings were not functioning properly. The government has suspended nearly 30 other projects across Hong Kong over the weekend, most of which were managed by the contractor carrying out the renovations at the, apartment building that went ablaze. Now, after it was revealed that repeated warnings by authorities had not been either enforced or followed up on, questions were asked as to why no officials were being held into account, yet 3 members of the public were detained under national security laws on suspicion of sedition. So yeah, you do wonder why, the inspectors aren't getting their butts handed to them as well, considering they were willfully unaware or didn't check up to make sure that things were going to be fixed. Now, former district councilman Kenneth Chung said the unidentified volunteer helping manage supplies for victims of the fire were alleged to have incited hatred against the government. Yeah, those public officials that look the other way, totally A-OK. The group of volunteers that are trying to help the people that didn't burn up, they, making standard criticism of how this was handled, they need to go to jail. Do not complain in China. That being said, I don't know how much we are actually going to see any forward momentum on anything changing in construction over in China. If you want to look at it, the history of everything has a really good sort of 45 minutes to an hour long video about some of the very dodgy practices going on with Chinese construction. So it is a thing. Well, did anyone have Walt Disney working with the FBI on your bingo card? You can go ahead and, if your bingo card has the tinfoil hat, you can go ahead and put that up. And let's see, I think you can mark that being said. I think that's it. And wig talk. Yes. Well, to legions of children across the world who grow up watching Disney films. Walt Disney is the smiling, mustachioed animator that introduced youngsters to some of the world's most beloved characters. But many may not realize that Walt Disney was also a close confidant of the FBI. Was that when Hoover was wearing girdles and nylons? Apparently it was. Well, he happily informed agents about communists among his staff. Well, no shit. They wanted to unionize and put him out of business, so he didn't really like communism. He was more of a capitalist. He was not for the whole, the people own the means of production. Now, according to reports, FBI Director J. Edgar Hoover, probably in nylons, sent Walt a letter in 1936, which led to the two striking up a friendship that would span decades until Walt's death in 1966. Now, it's been said over the years that Walt alerted the FBI to figures of Hollywood's whom he suspected of subversive activity. In 1947, he even testified to the House of Un-American Activities Committee about a strike that had occurred at his studio 6 years earlier, claiming it was caused by communistic agitation. Now, regardless of where you line up on they were all commies or not, I will say an interesting perspective was razor fists. They were always red on one side. And then, you can look at any documentary that discusses McCarthyism in a negative light. I tend to fall more on the razor fist side just because of where I tend to lean politically. But if you want to get kind of a fulsome view of this time period, I would suggest that you watch disparate things and make your own mind up as to where history landed. But any sort of McCarthy documentary and then Razor Fist, he has a video, and I believe it's something like Hollywood Was Always Red. But it does give another or the opposite side's perspective. So you do get kind of a fulsome idea of what was going on and maybe the truth lying somewhere in the middle. Even as a woman, he'd look weird. I'm sorry, Herbert or Edgar Hoover. I always get Herbie and Edgar mixed up. Oh, well. So there you go. Walt and, J. Edgar Hoover. Who'da thunk it? I mean, makes sense. Our timeline is our timeline. Well, an irate passenger was kicked off United Airlines flight in Newark for cursing out the attendant, calling them a effing C word. I mean, kind of sounds normal for Jersey, not gonna lie, but I'm just making that assumption based on advertisements I've seen for Jersey Shore. A United Airlines passenger meltdown went viral after the irate woman lobbed a few choice words at a poised flight attendant during a delay on a tarmac at Newark Liberty International Airport. Now, a fellow traveler captured the woman's entire tirade, which quickly garnered more than 500,000 views on TikTok when it was posted on November 10th. It's, you just... be not a butt monkey. I don't know why it's so damn hard to just mind your P's and Q's and not be an entire asshat in public. I mean, look, no one owes you anything. You're not, you are not special snowflake. Treat people the way that you want to be treated, and don't be a general, head shoved up your backside butt monkey. How hard is it for people to function with these general rules of life that I function by? If you start to feel yourself slipping into becoming a B word, check yourself. Like, these are things I do daily because I know my propensity to be a snarky butt monkey. So I try to be kind and not be a snarky jackass. But some people just choose violence, I guess. Quote, "This woman went absolutely nuts and we had to return back to the gate to get her off the plane." In the video, a blonde woman stuck in a window seat shuffles out of her row, but crosses paths with a flight attendant who's moving down the aisle. Now, the crew member pauses and doesn't appear to say anything. Still, the traveler snaps. "I'm getting up. I'm allowed to stand up. When you keep us on the tarmac for over an hour, I'm allowed to stand up," she said. Now, the flight attendant merely makes way for her and says, "That's not a problem." According to the video, "Not a problem at all. Really not a problem for me to want to effing stand effing C words." Well, that escalated quickly. I'm going to need you to take a Midol and shut the hell up, ma'am. This is why I don't work with the public. Because that's basically what I'd say. Be like, "Ma'am, take a Midol. I too am, feeling premenstrual, but notice I'm not a cunt." Yeah. I do need to get on to merch. I will tell you guys that I thought I was going to be on top of things yesterday. I got done doing the breakdown of the Brian Walsh case. Mr. Mo and brought me some dinner, and I was out. Like, I was going to get back up and do stuff. And by 7, I was like, I'm not getting out of bed again. Well, there you go. Maybe don't act like a T word and you won't get arrested at New Jersey airports. Swear to goodness, people need home training. Well, here's another one you probably did not have on your bingo card. Apparently, it's getting a little Daryl Brooks-esque in Zachary Ty Bryan's life as his fiance allegedly attempted to run him over. Yes, the kid from Home Improvement almost got run over by his fiance. What timeline are we in? I mean, I'm loving it, but I love the absurd. Now, new details are being revealed regarding Home Improvement star Zachary Ty Bryan's latest arrest. Now, according to Lane County Sheriff's Office, the actor and his fiancée, Johnny Faye Cartwright, were both arrested on Saturday, November 29th, after an incident in the Fall Creek area of Oregon. On November 29th at around 12:30 p.m., Lane County Sheriff's deputies responded to a report of reckless endangering in the area of Big Fall Creek Road milepost 5. It's a popular camping area northeast of Lowell, police said in a statement via Facebook. Now, deputies learned that Zachary Ty Bryan, 44 of Eugene, was in a pickup truck with Johnny Faye Cartwright, 32 of Eugene, and their 3 small children. They were driving around the area together. Now, according to police, Bryan got out of the truck and began walking down the road. Now, Cartwright then attempted to run over Bryan, crashing the truck with the children inside into a ditch. The center of the damn sun for both of them. Look, if y'all want to have a Johnny Depp Amber Heard style, emotional, passionate breakup thing in which you show your love by running each other over, which is dumb as hell, but I will give you permission to be dumb as hell adults. But to have children in your car and do something like this, again, center of the sun. Now, deputies interviewed both. Now, Bryan was able to move out of the way and avoid injury, and no one inside the pickup truck was injured, thank goodness, but still not for lack of daggone trying. Now, deputies that interviewed both Bryan and his fiancée observed signs that they were both impaired. Yeah, this has a little methany smell, if you ask me. It's a little crystally here. Now, after additional investigation, Cartwright was arrested for attempted assault in the first degree, 3 counts of recklessly endangering, and a DUI. Bryan was arrested for a probation violation on the original charge of assault in the 4th degree, and the involved children were placed with a family member. Thank goodness there was a family member so those children don't have to go into the system, which can be just as damaging, if not more so, than, being with their absolute jackass of parents. Now, according to online court records that were viewed by the media, both parties had remained in custody as of Monday, December the 1st, and it's unclear whether they have retained legal representation. So there you go. I didn't have Zachary Ty Bryan from Teen Beat magazine going this far down, but there you go. Y'all, go ahead and click on Headline from Hell and 2025, Are You Okay? If you have those on your bingo card, because what the absolute F. An attention-seeking influencer handed out massive machetes and liquor to homeless people in an outrageous stunt that has caused social media outrage. Keith Castillo, a Texas-based content creator, went viral for all the wrong reasons when he showed footage of himself handing out dangerous weapons to people on the street on Thanksgiving on Instagram and TikTok. You absolute pathetic jackass. People on the streets deserve respect. They are still human, and using them to get clout to highlight and make fun of their struggles. Look, no one chooses to be an addict. And granted, it took me a long time to get over my rage at addiction, if not the people who are suffering at it, because what I've walked through in my life. But I have come to the point in my life where I can honestly extend grace to people who are struggling with addiction, because it is a terrible, terrible thing. Now, do I think that we should mollycoddle them and, give them, safe injection sites? Absolutely hell no, not. we should give people who are willing and ready to change their addictions the opportunity to have a safe place to do that. But nothing's going to change until that person is ready to change. And it's a sad and horrifying truth. And to use people who are struggling, who have mental health issues, and hand them out stuff that's going to get them in trouble, that's going to make their lives worse, that's going to lead to violence, all for clouts and giggles. Look, I love a joke as much as the next funny person. I joke all the time. But this is gross. There's a line. There's a line. Now, the video, which is still posted on Instagram under his account, Castillo is seen handing out deadly gifts to his eager, recipients. He captioned the bizarre video, keeping the homeless in the streets. Now, he told the Post that he had purchased the knives in bulk for less than $5 each. Now, another video from the same day, he's seen grabbing fistfuls of Fireball whiskey shooters and distributing them to the homeless as well. While these particular acts caused significant attention, Castillo's page is full of similarly unsettling clips of him handing out, harmful things to homeless people in Austin, Texas, and New Orleans, Louisiana. Again, this is just cruel, gross, and wrong. Again, I see people, they ask for, I don't give out money. Look, and I only do this when Mr. Mo is with me, but if I see someone outside of Walmart who's holding up a sign, when we are in Walmart, I'll pick up like a Gatorade, a sandwich from the sub shop, and things like that, and I'll give those to those people. I will only do it when I'm with Mr. Mo, because, reality, and I watch way too many trials. But I do think that there's a way we can extend help and, again, treat people, no matter where they are, with human dignity. This screams of, I'm better than you because I maybe didn't make the same choices as you. And that's not what we're called to do as people. We're called to respect people as people, meet them where they are, and try to do our best to help them when they're ready to accept help. This is just gross. I hope he gets named and shamed and I don't know, maybe a touch of humility and a tone. The one good thing about life, as much as I rant about this, is that at any moment, this gentleman, however stupid he's been in the past, can always choose to change. He can always choose to make the right choice and move forward with a better outlook, with more respect for people. And one day, I hope he gets that. The problem is that most of the time you get humility, you get grace from life kicking you in the front, well, for you, it would be man boob. For me, it would be tit. So here's hoping that you gain the wisdom to treat everyone as a human with dignity, without that hard life lesson, sir, because it's not easy. Yeah, I hope no one got hurt. Let me get to the later part of the article. Now, he's seemingly set off on these strange, clout chases in an endeavor to attempt to get internet fame. Now, he has 53,000 followers on his Instagram account and more than 147,000 on his TikTok account. I travel around, bulk record in one city, then for my safety go to another city and do the same thing there for like 2 weeks. So basically, he's handing out bad stuff to homeless people in random cities and spreading misery just wherever he goes. Now, basically, the law so far is that possession of a machete is legal in most states. There aren't federal laws or usually even local laws that outlaw them, since they're mostly considered agricultural tools. And as far as giving out alcohol to the homeless, most states don't. They don't have a law against. They have a law against open bottles. So that's where the homeless person is, again, going to get in trouble just because you want to get clout. It's gross, it's wrong, and I hope he finds humility very soon. Well, If you guys aren't following this trial, what in the name of Chandler Halderson Part 2 is this defense? I do have a video where I broke down the first day. It's about 10-15 minutes, but holy fazolies for an even shorter, too long didn't read. Y'all, I swear, this is really the defense. Now, hours after the start of the new year in 2023, according to the defense, Brian and Anna Walsh went to bed after a quiet night visiting with their friends in their home in the affluent Boston, Massachusetts suburb of Cohasset. Now, about an hour later, Brian got up to clean the kitchen and returned to the bedroom, intending nothing more than to crawl into the bed with Anna Walsh, the woman he loved. Brian's attorney, Larry Tipton, said in court on Monday, December the 1st. But using his spider sense and sensing that something was wrong, he allegedly nudged his wife, nudge, nudge, and she didn't respond. So he nudged her again, nudge, nudge. Still no response. So he nudged her so hard that the body rolled and thunked off the bed. Now, after Anna allegedly died of sudden unexplained death, yes, the only analogous thing I can contend with is sudden infant death syndrome, which is something that, does happen to children. It is heartbreaking. I hope they are able to find answers. It does seem like the cases have reduced with more safe sleeping practices, but I hope that in my lifetime we can end a lot of the SIDS cases. That being said, the defense is that Anna suddenly died. She died, and Brian was so verklempt and Twitter-pated, as you do. He worried that no one would believe that Anna had passed unexpectedly. So as you do, he decided to lie about her leaving for work early and dismember her body, because reasons. Y'all, this is literally the Chandler Halderson defense. Okay, you got me on lying to the cops. You got me on the dismemberment. But how can you prove I murdered her? I was flabbergasted. That being said, I am trying to remain objective. If the defense can prove to me that this is within the realm of possibility, I'm willing to entertain it. But there are so many things about that story that make not one GD bit of sense. So it really was very odd to be sitting here watching a trial from Massachusetts and be reliving the Chandler Halderson case quite vividly. I will say that as a shameless self-plug, but also if you are worrying or thinking about joining this case, whether it be with me or someone else, I will say the judge seems to be making rulings on motions as they come, or at least giving clear ideas of when she is going to make rulings based on, things pertaining to a certain witness. I have not kept up with Canton stuff. So if you think it's going to be the Canton, like Proctor leads to 7 degrees of Proctor and, the McAlberts, I don't know any of that. I don't have enough red string. So I am basically watching this as a juror, but I will tell you that the judge does seem to be wanting to get this case going and might be the anti-Bev, and at least making sure people are staying on track and things like that. This is going to be a hard one for the defense to win people over on, is all I'm going to say about the rest of that case. Now, just another one for the center of the GD Sun. And you may go ahead and mark, where is it? Mugshot confirms, because I don't know, but this mugshot, this person, you're like alleged, attempted offender who is accused of kidnapping a teenager. I'd buy it. A love letter addressed to a 13-year-old girl from Utah was found in a trailer of a convicted offender who is accused of kidnapping the teenager after he allegedly fired a force multiplier at the family. Yeah, I'm going to go ahead and say, yeah. Christopher Thomas Wiggins faces charges of kidnapping and was arrested on November 26th in Colorado, just hours after an Amber Alert was released for the abduction of the young girl from Oregon. Now, the 34-year-old's trailer, which sat on the same property where the victim lived, was searched, where investigators had discovered a note written by Wiggins, according to documents cited in court documents. Now, Wiggins allegedly wrote twisted messages such as, "You're my everything, and I can't possibly live without you. I will sacrifice everything to be with you forever. Please tell Gen Pop that. They need to know how much you are willing to sacrifice to get with a 13-year-old. Please give them the details so that they might act accordingly, allegedly, in Minecraft." Now, along with the note, officials found safe sleeping together accoutrement and bullets. Now, when the victim's parents, confronted Wiggins after finding an explicit message sent to their daughter, he did admit to sending the photo. Erica Francisco, the victim's mother, was speaking with her child several blocks away from their home about the relationship with Wiggins. Now, Wiggins found the pair and shot at the back of the car, according to court documents. He allegedly apologized and gave the family the force multiplier that he had fired, and the parents later returned the weapon. What in the name of Walmart and cheese is going on here? I'm sorry I shot at you. Here, you can have your Remington back. No, you send an explicit picture to my daughter, you're leaving my property by way of little bracelets from, the people that can legally take your ass off my property. This is no. And I'm not giving you back a force multiplier. What in the name of Hades in a handbasket is going on? Now, a day before the girl was abducted, she did confess to her parents about her relationship with Wiggins, and they warned the offender to stay away from their daughter. Now, the following day, the mother contacted police to report that her child was missing at around 1:44 p.m. Now, the San Francisco family told authorities that their youngest daughter was believed to have been with the offender since 3 a.m. Wiggins allegedly left his own daughter in the trailer as he was abducting this other child. Again, what in the name of Cheetos is going on here? Now, police did issue an Amber Alert for Chris's vehicle and the victim, and a camera was able to track his vehicle to Colorado not long after the pair was found not far from his abandoned car around 7 p.m. Now, Erica told local news how she felt about Wiggins after her daughter was found, and she said, "I hate him." Again, you gave him back a weapon after he shot at you as you were discouraging your 13-year-old daughter from having a relationship with him. What in the Walmart rapture is going on here? I don't have words. Well, maybe don't attack your ex-boyfriend. A New Jersey cop is no longer a cop after attacking her ex-boyfriend and his new girlfriend in a home invasion. Yeah, it's almost like if you're a cop, you shouldn't do home invasions. And I don't know if that's day one stuff or that's more advanced classes, if that's like your 201 classes versus your 101 class, like cops shouldn't crime, or if that's an advanced doctorate level sort of class. Well, a New Jersey cop who went on a destructive rampage at her ex-boyfriend's home, attacking him and his new girlfriend, is barred for life from ever working in law enforcement in New Jersey. Ex-Toms River police officer Rebecca Sega, 32, pled guilty to burglary, criminal mischief, and simple assault on November 17th after breaking into her ex's Berkeley house in April, the Ocean County Prosecutor's Office announced. Now, as part of her guilty plea, she also formally forfeited her gig with the Toms River Township Police Department and all future public employment within the state of New Jersey. Now, she has been suspended without pay before that November decision. Now, prosecutors are seeking that she serve 180 days in the Ocean County Jail as a condition of her probation and have no contact with the victims, also that she has to pay restitution. Now, her guilty plea stems from a violent rampage in which she used her baton to smash through the front door of her ex-boyfriend's home at around 11:20 p.m. on April 25th. As you do. I mean, you got all this rage and you want to get a snapped episode. What do? Confronting him and his new girlfriend, who was also in the home. Now, then the off-duty cop, who had once shared the home with her ex-boyfriend of 5 years, got into an argument with the pair before shoving and pushing both of them. Now, during the dispute, the victims attempted to restrain her, but she broke free and smashed items all around the house, damaging the hood of one of the victims' cars. She is all of 93 pounds. Look, I am not telling you, but I am telling you, I have enough inner rage. Look, I work hard. I have 3 ridiculous feral boys. Try to come into my house and wreck my stuff. Look, ma'am, I have my inner rage, my inner bitch, and my inner child will all team up together to Matilda launch your ass to my lawn, okay? Do not test me. I have very few nice things. I don't get pissed off about much. I have grace for my children when they wreck stuff. I try to laugh it off, but you as a grown ass person, if you come into my house and wreck my stuff and you are all of 93 pounds of rage, do not deal. My rage has been growing longer than yours has. I am stronger in the bitch force, okay? Do not test me, ma'am. Like, just don't. Allegedly in Minecraft. And those are some Manson lamps. So, sir, you need to explain what about those scary eyes attracted you in the daggone first place. Now, the ex-cop racked up nearly $2,000 in damage to the home, as well as an additional $500 to one of the victims' cars. Despite her arrest, she was released from the Ocean County Jail under New Jersey's bail reform system. Well, don't you feel safe? She was additionally suspended without pay following this incident. She did have, prior to that, 9 years on the force. Now, she is expected to get sentenced on January the 26th of 2026, and her guilty plea came after she filed a lawsuit against the department and township last year, claiming that the former police chief, Mitchell Little, and other supervisors within the department were SHing her, harassing her, and denying her promotions because of her gender. No, maybe you were just a craptastic officer who was always trying to, mess with people. I don't know. Maybe what goes around comes around. Now, in a headline, I hope. What is a vomitoxin and how do we RSVP no for that shit? I mean, China, you still have to make up for the coof. How about you not let your people smuggle in vomitoxin fungus? How about that be a thing? Well, a Chinese researcher who smuggled a crop-killing fungus dubbed vomitoxin into the U.S. has been deported. Zhengqing Yan, 33, who once worked for the University of Michigan, pled guilty last month to conspiring to smuggle in the biological pathogen to reportedly continue researching it. I'm going to go ahead and say, yeah, sure. Sure, Jan. Now, she was sentenced to time served and then booted. FBI Director Dan Bongino confirmed Monday in a post on X that she has been kicked out of the country after her conviction. Again, what's to stop the next person from bringing something in to research it? I don't know all the lengths that we have to search and really do background checks on people coming in on student visa or research visas or things like that. But maybe we need to start taking a little bit of a closer look at them, because I'm sure we caught this one, but are we catching every one of them? And I doubt that. But she's back in, the CCP. So there you go. Well, it's time to get into those headlines that, well, more so than the rest of the headlines I've already covered, make you scratch your head and wonder what in the name of Walmart rapture. So here they are, you guys.
The key-keeped scroll, thou glowing shrine of thirst traps, scams, and dollar signs. We chant in tones both grim and low, for virtue fled a long time ago. Kyrie eleison, Christe descendat, final form Jesus return in wrath. With six-pack glistening, sword in hand, he cometh swift to cleanse the land.
I now understand why my email is full of Viagra, sales pharmacies from Canada and I think Korea. Apparently, it helps with deafness. Is there nothing that the little blue pill can't do? Hard of hearing? Well, Viagra could reverse some deafness. I mean, I think women in retirement homes may beg to differ, but Well, the infamous blue pill that helps men, keep up may help improve another kind of hardness, the hardness of hearing. A new study reports that Viagra has the potential to reverse a frequently permanent type of inherited hearing loss. I'm sorry, I'm glad I can hear you. I also have a permanent 4-hour erection. I mean, how good is it going to be if you can hear better if you're constantly popping wood? I mean, I don't know. Maybe it's not. Maybe if you think about like Madeleine Albright, you can still hear and not bone out. Who thought of this study first? Like, hey guys, I wonder if Viagra would do anything else. And you're like, I don't know. Well, for the hell of it, let's see if it cures deafness. I mean, hey, if it helps people hear, that's fine. But I would delay that until the end of Christmas, because if you do miraculously start to hear and the only thing you hear is Mariah Carey's All I Want for Christmas, you might want to wish for deafness again. So I would say don't start taking the little blue pill until after New Year's. That would be my guess. Good point. Now, in research published in the Journal of Clinical Investigation, it highlighted a mutation in a gene called CPD, which results in a form of deafness known as sensorineural hearing loss. Now, scientists from the University of Chicago and the University of Miami and several institutions in Turkey have uncovered that the condition could be targeted by tool treatments. Now, one is a common supplement and the other is a popular erectile dysfunction drug. Now, this study is exciting because we found a new gene mutation that's linked to deafness, and more importantly, we have a therapeutic target that we can actually mitigate this condition. The lead author, Rong Grace Zia, a neurological diseases professor at the University of Chicago, stated. Now, one treatment was basically the active ingredient in Viagra and other ED medications. In healthy hearing, the CPD gene instructs an enzyme to maintain levels of amino acid arginine, which helps produce nitric oxide, helping send signals through the nervous system. Now, with the particular hearing loss that occurs when the CPD gene pathway is disruptive, it causes oxidative stress and cell death in the hair cells that are responsible for both hearing and balance. So when that hair loss is the function of the CPD gene, the ability to hear or detect sound waves also goes. So basically they address this problem in two ways, and it does seem that part of the answer is, well, Viagra. Darn you. That is the only reason I absolutely hate Christmas carols. It's Mariah Carey. I'm not gonna lie. I hate it. I worked retail. I can't. Yeah. It's Mariah Carey's not my jam. If she's your jam, I hope you enjoy this holiday season like you do every other holiday season. I just thought this was super cute, but even if he is the shortest horse, Mr. Mo said we couldn't get him, and Dingus would probably beat him up because I have a cat bigger than this horse. The world's shortest horse measured in at just 21.1 inches tall. A therapy horse living in Germany was dubbed the shortest living horse by Guinness World Records, standing at a diminutive 21.1 inches tall. Carola Weldman said she adopted Pumunkel. Look, probably something German that I don't understand. It's probably like horse or pumpkin. I don't know. In 2020, when he was only 5 months old and just about 18 inches tall, I drove over, took a look at him, and he was truly the cutest thing I've ever seen. I know, believe me, I couldn't go, I'd see this on like, we need to give our baby puppy horse a good home, and I would like drive back home with a puppy horse. Mr. Mo would not know what to do with me. That being said, we'd have a puppy horse. It would be so cute. Now, he did have his height verified by Guinness World Records, so he is the shortest living male horse in the world. He's about 1.5 inches shorter than the previous record holder. Now, he is a trained therapy horse that makes regular visits to nursing homes, hospice, schools, and facilities for people with developmental disabilities. He's a very lovable character, and he's incredibly good with children. He loves being scratched and cuddled. He loves being the center of attention. If reincarnation is real, I'm coming back as a mini puppy horse. Like, this is my job. It's the only way I will people. I come back as a mini therapy horse. It looks like, so in 2020, he was 5 months old. So he's about 5.5. Actually, the next time Mr. Mo says he can't hear something and he needs to check his hearing, I'm going to send him an advert for Viagra. And he's going to be like, what the hell? And I'm going to have to tell him, well, it's because it will help you with your hearing. You don't understand. I'm trying to be a good wife. And for those of us who are looking for an easy way to get the summer body we want, well, without the cardio and sweating that we're kind of about, well, if it's too cold out, shivering might actually help you burn fat. Now, I don't know the ratio of cold to abs, so that might be something that you should Google. And also consult your doctor before you try, to get winter abs by shivering. I don't know how effective it is, but I'm willing to listen and entertain it. Well, shiver me thinner. Forget frostbite and high energy bills, along with frozen pipes. There's at least one upside to colder weather. When the temperatures drop, we burn more calories to maintain our internal temperature, a process known as thermogenesis. Now, our bodies are storehouses for white and brown fat. White fat is known as bad fat because it accumulates when we consume more calories than we burn, and too much can lead to weight gain and obesity, along with significant rises in type 2 diabetes concerns and heart disease. But conversely, brown fat is known as good fat because it provides the body with a fuel source for energy and also helps regulate the metabolism. Now, lean people tend to have more brown fat than people who are overweight, and scientists are ever on the hunt for a way to stimulate the metabolism of, white fat stores and keep the burn, or basically make the white fat brown fat. Basically, authors in a 2021 study demonstrated that brown adipose tissue in adult humans is actually metabolically higher active when it's stimulated physiologically. That is, when human brown fat is on fire. So basically, when you're shivering, you're burning brown fat. Now, quite personally, I don't know how much it is that you have to shiver until you look like Jillian Mitchell. So I'm not going to be the one to test this out for science. I don't like being cold and I already shiver enough. So if I do end up with a 6-pack of abs by the end of this winter, I will let you guys know. But I'm going to go ahead and say, do not stand outside in a crop top in order to get abs, because it probably won't work. And you might get 5150'd. But there you go. Now, this is our final story, but I say I don't care what science says. I am not using garlic mouthwash. That sounds like a crime against humanity and everything. Garlic, that pungent bulb-shaped veggie that gives food kick and vampires the ick, is now being crowned as a possible cure for halitosis. Yeah, because garlic is what I want to add to bad breath. Garlic extract mouthwash has shown comparable efficacy to chlorhexidine, particularly at higher concentrations. Yeah, I'm still not using garlic mouthwash to get better breath. No, you're okay. Now, researchers compared juices derived from the vegetable to chlorhexidine, or CHX, an antiseptic and disinfectant that's widely used as the gold standard in mouthwash, but can alter taste as well as trigger other adverse side effects like oral numbness and burning sensation, along with teeth and tongue staining. Dan Davis, thank you for the super chat. When I'm sitting on the bowl, I'm getting rid of brown fat. Oh, yes, JKD Buck, I will have to clip that. But overuse of the chemical can also promote antimicrobial resistance, leaving users' mouths prey to bacteria, fungus, and parasites, all of which prompt smelly breaths. Now, garlic has been recognized for its medicinal properties for centuries, with its antimicrobial efficacy being a subject of interest in recent research. Now, specialists reviewed 5 previous studies to determine just how well the plant stacked up against its chemical counterpart when it came to warding off dangerous germs. Now, the antimicrobial properties of garlic have been attributed to compounds such as allicin, which is formed when garlic is crushed, but studies have demonstrated that the antimicrobial activity of garlic extracts are effective against numerous bacteria, fungi, and viruses. So studies revealed over a course of a week, a 3% garlic extract mouthwash was more effective at reducing, bacteria than the chemical counterpart. Still, basically no garlic, yuck. Now, the alternative garlic mouthwash does come with drawbacks. It still has a burning sensation and has an unpleasant taste. Who'da thunk? Garlic mouthwash might not appeal to many people. Who'da thunk it? I can't imagine. You can't imagine my shock. My shock. No. Who knew? Well, before we get into the stories, we've got... Oh, cancel. We've got our Advent crazy story to get to.
2025 is nearly done, so grab your cocoa, here's the fun. Every day's a brand new spree of what the hell absurdity. From runaway, famous on the loose to news you swear was fake, but true. Mo's got the snark, you bring the tea. It's the WFT Advent Countdown with Mosh.
Well, here's a headline you didn't think would happen, but it did actually, in Salt Lake City, no less. Well, sometimes you can only shake your head around some of the things you hear posted on news websites. For example, what else can you do when you read about a man attacking another man with a wooden stake because he believed that the victim was a werewolf? As you do. Also, I thought werewolves were silver, not a stake. I thought that was vampires. Now, this happened in June 2025 when Jose Manuel Perez was eating lunch with the unnamed victim in Salt Lake City. Now, during the meal, Perez abruptly began hitting the victim before putting him in a chokehold. He also produced a wooden stake with a nail in it and told the victim he was going to pierce his heart. Now, fortunately, the victim eventually escaped and alerted the police, and Perez took the victim's backpack, which had been left behind, and fled. Now, police were able to find Perez not long after and discovered that he still had the victim's backpack. And thank you, Dan Davis. Just what I need. What I need more garlic farts. I mean, they're better than deviled egg farts. Deviled eggs are truly demonic in that the gas they leave, it just, ooh. That's why I only make them for holidays. Let's see here. Now, Perez had also packed his pocket full of rocks and stones, and he told the police that he believed that the victim was a werewolf and wanted to kill him. Now, Perez, being bound to the laws of Utah, was booked on aggravated robbery, charges, along with, assault charges, as you do, because, maybe you don't attack someone. But now, as this is an educational channel, how to be a real man. I mean, after all the Viagra and garlic talk, I feel like this is the perfect thing we need to learn.
Joe Simmons used to be your average teenager. He enjoyed his music. He liked it.
Why is he dressed like if y'all watch the dinosaurs, the puppet Jim Henson show, why is he dressed like Spike from the dinosaurs, like the kind of delinquent friend that basically had a bandana and a leather jacket? Okay. He used to be a regular teenager jumping on his bed.
His magazines.
Car
he
Babe
loved his
magazine.
Television programs. He worshipped Marissa Wilson.
We did not have a shrine with deer horn on it. What is going on?
He had a few pet habits.
Oh, not the nicotine or the marijuana, not that.
But then, Joe got a message. Now,
Joe went to the conservative turning point. What is going on? I like that. Could God send me a book from the sky that tells me what's going to happen today? I'll take a Post-it note. Hell, send it in Morse code. Today's going to be shit. Just treat it like any Monday. I mean, Lord, I'm willing to take a telegram.
will never be the same.
Green Day, not today.
Well, that's what I say currently, but they honestly weren't that great. What everyone wants to do with Green Day CDs now.
Counting Crows, your number's up.
Shut the hell up. You do anything to Counting Crows. I'm a Counting Crows.
Pearl Jam, you're...
Take that, Mr. Jones. Pearl Jam, if I understood any of the words coming out of Eddie Vedder's mouth, it would be blasphemy.
Toe Jam. Consider yourself
Not MTV, not cable and Skinamax.
disconnected. Joe, hey, you got a light? I'm gonna let it shine.
Warning, Christianity will not make you powerful against the Crips and the Bloods. Do not attempt to do this in real life. The armor of the Lord will not protect you from an ass-kicking should you decide to assault someone. I'm just throwing that out there. Neither will the armor of the Lord protect you from assault charges. So, however on fire for the Lord you are, do realize that there are consequences to these things.
What's up, Joe? Are you crazy?
Crazy? You're loco por Jesus.
Yo, loco for Jesus. That's it. I'm dead. You can mark the I'm dead. This has now made my day. I want loco for Jesus to be my ringtone. What would Jesus do? Haymaker. He definitely likes the table flipping Jesus like I do.
Crazy?
Crazy? You're loco por Jesus.
The Josiah Project. Oh my god, if they mix this with the Blair Witch Project. God, I need the editing for this. Because I need someone to marry the Josiah Project with the Blair Witch Project. What is going on here? Now, because I love Silence of the Lambs and I'm hoping that this will get through, this is the bird you have to take when your aunt passes, the evil bird. But Silence of the Lambs is one of my favorite movies, and I just about tinkled myself laughing watching this. So we are going to kind of go through and not get as much of the general footage of the movie.
Hello, Clarence. Another holiday at Great Aunt Brenda's, the matriarch. She's much too old to travel these days and doesn't want to be far from me, her beloved, precious cockatoo.
Okay, this is also funny because birds terrify me. Look, if you like birds, if you love them, if you have them in your house and they are your bestest friend, I am a-okay happy for you. Birds, like, I'm okay with them functionally existing. I don't want them next to me. They always look like they're plotting something I can never read. Look, maybe some other people can read, you know, into the beady eyes of a parrot and figure out if they're going to snap your fingers off, but I'm just not willing to take that chance.
But the bitch isn't well, is she? I can smell it. Last year, she cooked her Bible into the green bean casserole. And the year before that, she misplaced her paisley dinner moo-moo and called 911. Yes, she's halfway to hell, Clarence. And when she dies, she will gift someone with this modest bungalow. But it comes with a price, you see. Me. Sorry, that's just a thing.
I would rather have Hannibal Lecter, this particular parrot, than an actual parrot. Now, I don't know what that says about me as far as mentalness. No, the chicken outfit is here. Mr. Mo was laughing uproariously because he was like, only you would buy a sexy chicken costume. And I was like, well, it was on clearance, so maybe I was the only one that bit the bullet.
I do. But surely you've done your research. Cockatoos, mood, bad. Temperament, bad. Personality, if Margaret Thatcher had knives for hands, but was...
Okay, I actually kind of liked Margaret Thatcher, but I didn't have to live under any of her political changes, so I understand that the sentiment is not well received in coal mining towns in the UK, and I completely understand why their perspective would be different than me. But same goes for Janet Reno with Edward Scissorhands.
But was also kind of snatched. And finally, lifespan 40 to 60 years.
No, just no. But since we are on the subject of animal afterlife, I figured we'd go to the expert, none other than our, well, possum whisperer herself, Pearl, and how animals deal with the afterlife.
Hi. Parody and satire have been really stressing over our emergency preparedness plans. Poor darling.
I always figured possums to be preppers. I mean, I figured possums already have a go bag, and why is there a roll of cash right here in a nylon bag? You know, every time I watch her videos, there's something in there that's like, did you mean for that to be there, or was this something you forgot?
They can barely eat, they are so fraught. So I thought this would be a good time to catch us all up on the personal disaster that may be looming. As my grandmother used to say, we may not know where it is or when it's coming, but there is a bus out there with your name on it, and you better.
You know what? I think my grandma would probably say the same thing. Gotta love grandma wisdom. Like, okay, well, if everyone jumped off a bridge, I guess you're gonna jump off a bridge. I was like, well, grandma, is there water under the bridge? And she's like, that's not the point of the question. And I was like, well, it would depend on if there's water under the bridge or netting as to whether I would jump off. How high is the bridge? I may have had youngest, most feral tendencies. So she'd be like, it's just a bridge. And I was like, yeah, but if I don't know all the information, how am I going to know whether I'm going to jump or not? It seems kind of dumb to make a choice without knowing all of the information. And my grandma just said, you proved my point. You're smart enough to not jump off a bridge. Leave it alone. I apologize for exhausting the adults around me with my unintentional Socratic method of just question, volleys.
Better be ready. Of course, she was talking about clean underwear, as grandmothers are wont to do. But let's take the sentiment a step further. Let's say, just for fun, that you're out and about one day when unexpectedly you get blindsided by that unpredictable bus of yours.
You're happy walking around, all of a sudden that manic bus, the Daryl Brooks bus, comes at you, as it does.
What is going to happen to the kiddos? It's wise at any age to have a will, but it's especially important to make provisions for your animal friends and their rehoming if that becomes necessary.
Yeah, I'm going to go ahead and say this might be the only really logical advice she's given. If you do have a passel of possums, you might want to let people know before you pass on. Just give them a heads up like, hey, would you like 94 possums when I pass? Just give people a heads up.
Don't want fraught people dumping fraught animals at a shelter. That just compounds the tragedy, and you can prevent that. Who of your family and friends do the animals like best? Be brutally honest, it's probably not the one who knits them little hats. Mea culpa.
I'm just imagining her sitting down with her relatives. Look, you guys, I've been really thinking about, my life, my future, and if anything should happen to me, would you take the possums?
And if you have a dog, well, it would be wonderful if they could all go together, because that dog probably considers all the family animals as part of her pack. But maybe your turtle has a soft spot for the gardener. Well, cater to that. Or What about that cat that doesn't really like anybody at all? Be sure and leave an ample amount of cash for each animal for their food, medical care, enrichment, mega miscellaneous. It's only fair.
Ma'am, how much are you planning to leave for the possums? You know, I have all of a sudden realized I love possums, and I would be willing to treat them in the manner to which they're accustomed, and as long as I don't have to feed them next to a camera where I can hear their mouth noises, I will be totally willing to take care of the possums. As long as there's not a parakeet. Look, I'm not taking any of your birds.
Now, if you live alone, it's particularly important to carry a card right here that says Pets Home Alone. You can get these and carry them in your wallet if there's room for your name, the animal's name.
I can't even remember to wear my own daggone medical ID bracelet, let alone a little card for my dog, or, well, Dingus, and all the other cats. I mean, I can barely remember to wear my own, medical ID bracelet. I don't know that I'm going to really, in case of emergency, remember my possums. Not without my possums, the Sally Field remake. Actually, if I had editing skills, that's what I'd be working on today.
And, most important, the emergency contact caregiver. Be sure that person has a key. Okay, speaking of keys, we have items like this. Again, it says Pet Home Alone, and it says in the wallet is a card with emergency contact. So,
because the paramedic's going to be going through, oh, did you see this little tag? She's got an animal at home. And then the cop's going to be like, oh my gosh, there's a card. It's like a scavenger hunt of her life's essentials.
you can carry that. And also in your windows and in your car, have these alert stickers.
Oh my God, no. Next in the merch store is going to be My Possums on Honor Roll. So proud of my honor roll possum guy.
Whoa. Now, the way this works, get them, they peel right off, and then this would be a pane of
don't cut
glass,
yourself, ma'am.
And we just attach it. Is that right?
You know, of all the things I need a tutorial on YouTube, putting a sticker on a window is one I'm quite capable of achieving myself.
Yes. And there, this is what it looks like in your window. Okay, so alert, pets inside. It tells what kind of pets and how many, so that if there is a disaster...
Are we leaving rolls of cash for the first responders too? I feel like if you went out of your way to leave cash for, the random relative who you bequeath your possums to, are you leaving random cash when your pets are home alone in case they have to be rescued and no one knows what the hell to do with a possum?
While you're away, the rescuers don't have to guess. Let's see. Oh my, are you a beloved companion or just something that wandered off of the alley? Sometimes it's not immediately evident. All right, now, when it comes to service animals, well, that's a horse of a different color. You may come across stickers like these. Now this one said...
I mean, as much as most of her videos do have kind of random stuff, these are important things, but... God love her. I don't know where you're gonna get a Protect My Possum decal, but I'm sure you can get one on Etsy. Well, you guys, I hope that has been this morning with Mornings with Mo. I hope you guys have had fun. And remember that, my possum is smarter than your honor roller will be a bumper sticker I'm coming out with soon. Because why not? Or I learned everything I knew from a possum lady. I think that might be another shirt. I don't know, but I am going to be working on merch. Whenever the stars align and Mercury's in retrograde and I suddenly get, computerical powers, it'll be great. Until then, I will limp along with my own current Canva powers and we will see how things go. At 10:30, I will be starting day 2 of the Brian Walsh case. We are stuck in for another 45 to 50 minutes of audio, cursed audio that we can sort of hear. And then we've got another, according to the prosecutor, 45 minutes to 50 minutes of actual testimony from the first witness. And then we will be trying to gauge how cross is going to be going with all the witnesses. But according to the state, we are ahead of schedule thus far. So let's hope we can keep that energy up. The judge does seem to, in a, Massachusetts miracle, be a judge that actually makes decisions on motions and wants to conduct a speedy and efficient trial. So it'll be interesting. I hope you all will join me there. I am going to get some things done, and then we are going to try to speed through day 2 and see if they're actually going to end the day sooner. It is pretty yucky out there in a lot of places in the country, my area included. So hopefully the snow and ice won't take down the interwebs and we will be free to go. So thank you so much for joining me this morning. And remember, be kind to yourself, be kind to others, but have a sassy mouth and carry a can of bitch fire, because you never know who's going to try to make you use garlic mouthwash. I mean, if it works for you, it works for you. I'm just going to hard pass. Or if someone tries to take you out because you might be a werewolf. Remember, ladies, let's keep shaving all through winter so we aren't marked as Sasquatch or werewolves. Or at least cover your legs up so no one guesses. Bye, you guys.